Hey everybody, Mr. McCann here again, and we are going to spend some time on Google Sites. And I'm actually going to go over everything in this one video, kind of how Google Sites works. And so this will really be for the entire module. This will be your go-to video if you need any reminders on what buttons to click or how to do certain things, because I'm gonna go through all of Google Sites and just kind of how the different pieces work. All right, here we go. Let's get started. All right, Google Sites, here we come. Let's see how we can build a website. So probably the easiest way to get to Sites, you can go to sites.google.com, or you can always use just the waffle of Google Apps up here when you're logged into Chrome. You go, it's usually you have to scroll down just a little bit, and you're going to click on Sites. So there's a couple ways to get there, and probably the thing to do here is I like to start with a blank site. Even though there are some templates, I like a blank site because it just tends to allow me a little more control and there's not as much I have to change. So I'm going to click on a blank site. All right. This is where you will land. This is the first part of Sites. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and walk you through how I get started. Now, it will automatically default you to this insert page. I actually go to theme first. I work these backwards. So I start with theme. So theme is really, it's really just what do you want your site to look like? Now I will tell you there are limited choices. These simple Aristotle, Diplomat, Vision, Level, and Impression, those are your choices. You can't really get much more customized than that. It's kind of the way Google keeps sites to be fairly simple. So what you can do is you can click through these and you can see it changes the look of my page, okay? So I can go here and maybe you choose level, like, oh, I think this one looks good. I do have some customization. I can change colors. So it's kind of, you can see kind of this, if you look at this circle right up here and this bar, it's changing those colors. And I can click on the paint bucket, and this actually brings up my color picker. So if I'm looking for a real specific color of one I want to use, maybe I kind of am looking for more of a light green here, more of a minty green, I can choose that, okay? So you can do that. The other thing you can do is if I close that, you can choose your font style. You only have 3 selections per choice over here, but it does give you a little bit more more customization. So that's really what's on the themes. So choose your theme, go for that, and then you can move from there. Okay. So moving on down, next is pages. So by default, you have a home page. That is the page they give you. And in your assignments you're going to be doing, you're actually going to have to add pages, and you're going to have to add a couple sub pages. So I'm going to show you how to do that. The very first thing you want to do is you just want to come down, hover over this plus button, and you're going to create a new page. And it's immediately going to ask you to title it. So we're going to say all about me. I think that's one of the pages you're going to need to create. And I'm going to hit done. And you will see that the all about me page is now created. Okay. I still have my home page, but then here's all about me. Okay, and it titled it for me because I put that in there. And you can see that I have my navigation going across the top, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So you can, if I needed to create another page, I'm gonna go ahead and create another page, and we're gonna call this artifacts, and then I'll hit done, and you can see I have another page created. So you can keep doing that. Now, one of the things though, and this is a skill you're gonna have to do, is you're gonna have to create some sub pages. Notice if I go here, there's no choice for a subpage. However, though, once I have a page created and I'm clicked on it, if I click on the 3 dots, some new choices appear for me. I can make a page my home page, I can duplicate pages, but one of the things I can do is I can actually add a subpage. So here's where if I click add subpage, it's gonna pretty much bring up the same menu. But here I can say this, and we're just going to call this demo, and I'm going to hit done. But what you can see now is that this is nested under the artifacts. And if I look up here on my navigation, a new one didn't appear across the top. It actually appeared under artifacts. So when I click on artifacts, the demo page is actually nested under that. And you can actually keep going with this. You can see you could add a subpage to a subpage. So there's a lot of choices you can do there. So that's how you actually build out pages. We're actually not adding anything to the pages yet. We're just building the pages. So you can build your entire site start to finish right on this screen. Now we move over to probably what I would say is the most important one, and that is the insert menu, because this is where you're actually going to put content on your web page, okay? And so the very first options you have here, the ones I'm going to talk about are text box, and we'll talk about the drive icon, what you can do here. And we're going to spend a little bit of time in the layouts, and then we'll look at a few items down here as well. The nice part, pretty much all of these work the exact same way, okay? So let's just start simple. Let's start with a text box. If I need to add a text box, I have a couple options. I can click it, and it goes right over there, which is probably the easiest thing. When I can just go ahead and click this, and then there's my text box. It appears, so I can type in, my name if I want right here, and there's my text box, okay? Now, anything in a Google site that has these blue dots, you can adjust. So maybe I need to shorten this up right here. And then I can also, by clicking on these little miniature dots that appear, kind of like a handle, I can drag this. Now, obviously, it's going to drop it wherever that blue box goes, but this is really where I start customizing my site. So maybe I want to center this just like I'm in a Google Doc, and I can start adding items here, okay? Again, I can choose fonts. This is where when you add a text box, you can choose certain fonts. Remember to kind of think of our design language. You don't want to change your fonts up too crazy from what is on your web page, because you want it to look nice. But that is adding a text box in. Okay, I'm actually going to skip down because I know one of the things that's probably going to be required at some point is you're going to need to add a divider in. All a divider in is a very simple, it's just a natural break. If I click divider, you can see that I had a line that appeared here. So that's just dividing content. So think if you have, maybe if you have two Google Docs, you might want a divider between those. And again, all I did was click on this over here, okay? And just clicked on there and put the divider in. So let's say under this divider, I actually want to put something in from my Google Drive. So I'm going to just come back up here, and just with a simple single click, this is going to open my Google Drive, okay? And so this is now looking at my Google Drive here in my folders that I have listed, and I'm sure I have some stuff down here at the end. Looks like I have a picture of a Scholastic Action magazine here with a picture of a dog on it. Let's say I want this on my drive. I can actually click on it, and then I can insert, which appears here. So I'm going to go ahead and click insert, and it's going to put this right on my site right here. Okay, so my Scholastic Action magazine here of my Google site that really doesn't make a whole lot of sense yet, but we're just kind of playing with the buttons. Again, anywhere I see the blue circles, I can resize. I can click and drag. So this is again where we get into that design language, making it look nice here, okay? And so I can see where this is going, and you can see my divider above that, okay? So that's putting something in from my drive. This also works. Let's move this over. I can click my drive again. This works for a Google Doc as well. So here is this document, and I can go ahead and insert this, and you'll see here that the actual Google Doc is now embedded in my Google site. And what I can do is I can actually resize this. So maybe I don't need this quite this big left to right. And you can see it kind of helps me auto resize. And maybe I want to move this up here so it's next to this image of the magazine. But here is this Google Doc in my site, okay? So we've added a few things, and you can see it's very, very simple to add things. As I come in here, I can just click and put these things on here. If I want to go to a new page, I can actually just click over here to pages, and then I could move, let's say I could move to my All About Me page. You'll see my page changes, and then I come back to insert, and it's literally just the same thing. So on this, maybe I'm gonna put an image carousel. If I click image carousel, it's gonna say I have to have at least 2 images. So I'm gonna say, let's add an image. I can select an image, and you can see here, here's a couple of logos I use for the question project. So we're just gonna select both of those, and then I will say insert, and you can see I have 2 pictures in here now, and I insert, and here is my image carousel that can be centered, right? And we can go through that and put that in there. Okay, now this is a good time. So again, just clicking over here brings these items in. Again, let's put maybe under this, let's insert a divider like we did before. And then actually I'm gonna put you can add these layouts in here. So a layout is basically, it's gonna, whatever you see here is exactly what it looks like. So if I click it, you can see here. Now I have to add a picture, and then I click to add text. So I can do these layouts, put these in here, and these are just kind of predetermined layouts. And what it does is it saves you from having to, you don't have to put the picture in, then put a text box under it, all that stuff. It's already done for you. So very, very simple. And just so we all know too, when I click on something, because feel free to play around with this. If you put this in and you decide that does not look good, that's not what I wanted, you can just click delete section and it's gone. Same thing with the divider. Delete that and I'm done with it. Okay, I can bring it back in. I can click and it comes right back in. I also have some options here. I can give it a background color. Do I want to give it a different emphasis of the background? See how it kind of changed everything to that green color versus the white. So you do have some customization over here as well too. Okay, so just know that's kind of how the navigation of those things work. All right, let's see what else we want to put in. The other ones that are helpful is collapsible text. This is actually a relatively new feature on Google Sites, which I like a lot. So if I click collapsible text, it gives me these two lines here, and I can put I can say name, and then down here I might put Mr. McCann. Okay. Now to me, it's just going to look like it just says name. But this is actually a drop down that's going to work on the website that way. So it drops down. Now, speaking of, it's a little hard to tell what this looks like right now because I'm in this editing mode. So that's when I'm going to bring your attention up to this top bar here. Oh, by the way, here's your undo and redo. Always helpful to know where those are. What I want to look at is this preview button. So preview, I'm going to click this. What's going to happen is it's actually going to open up the website as other people would see it without the editing tools. Okay, so if I come down and scroll down here, you'll see here that here's this name I put in. If I click it, you see how it expands. So it's actually expanding just like you would see on like a frequently asked questions site of a website. If I hover over these images, you can see I can scroll through them in this image carousel. So that's pretty cool. This is something I really like. Down here, this menu bar, you can actually see what your site will look like on a phone. So I think that's kind of fun too, to be able to see if somebody was looking at, you can see my navigation changed from the top to the side. And that's just what it would look like on a phone, which is kind of neat. All I have to do is click this X button and I get out of preview mode and now I'm back into my editing mode, okay? So again, just like everything else, let's add, I think one of the assignments, you're gonna have to add a button. So I'm gonna add a button. And what this is kind of neat because you can link to another site. So what I can do is we can say Google, and then I can do, I can say Google BS : I can link to Google, insert. Notice here now I have a button that is linked. Now if I click on it, I'm just editing, but if we go back to my preview, you will see here, this is actually a link, and if I click it, it's going to open a new tab straight to Google. So that's kind of cool to be able to put a button on there. Notice I want to show you one other thing about buttons. I'm going to put another one in. If I put, let's say I'm on currently, let's say I need to link to my artifact page. Okay. When I click on link, any of the pages that I already have created appear here. I can click artifact and say insert. This will now, this link right here, watch what happens. I'm going to go to preview. If I click this, it's going to take me to my artifacts page. So you can link to pages within your website. And that's actually part of what you're going to end up doing. And so just like, I'm going to go back to that demo pages, I think where those were. Nope, I'm going to go to all about me. Remember, in the editing mode, no matter where even though this artifacts came in down here, which is not really where I wanted it, looks like I just grouped them together there. You can move these, okay? So I can move the buttons wherever I need to and get those done here. Sorry, I'm kind of moving around. If I need to trash them, I can always do that. I can always delete the group, those types of things, okay? I just duplicated them with this button. So you can see it's pretty easy to click around and use. Insert works the same for all of these different things. I typically, just so you know, I typically don't use these bottom ones down here because I just use the drive button here, which takes me to my drive. If you do need to insert a YouTube video, it works the same way. You'll just click YouTube. And then the one thing here, you just need to search for the video here, and then you'll select the video you would put in, and it will automatically embed the video on your site for you, okay? A couple other things to mention. One is I'm going to click on the gear up here to show you the settings of this page. And really, there's only one thing I want to show you here. You can choose, again, this is totally just your personal preference. Under mode, do you want top navigation? So they're up here, your links, or do you like side navigation to where they fall under this little hamburger menu? Again, totally your thought on that. Color, do you want transparent? Do you want a white? Or do you want it black up top? And that's really just for your banner, okay? So again, totally personal preference up there. And again, one other thing, while we mention it right here, you can actually, you can name your site, and then it'll actually, it'll title your site for you, and then that will be, you'll actually have that visible too. You can see now it says McCann up in the top left when I'm in the preview, okay? So the last thing that you'll end up doing before you want to turn this in, remember, and go ahead and you'll fill it out, always use the preview to see how it's going. The last piece is just the publish menu, and what you'll do is you'll click publish, and then once you publish your site, it'll actually it'll give your site a name, and it will make it to, it will keep your site within the Wentzville School District, so it doesn't become a public site on the internet. It's just for the Wentzville School District. Once you click publish, you will actually be able to, then you'll see this site right here, this little link button becomes, that link button becomes active. And this would be the link then that you could send to your teacher. So you could turn that in and they would have access to your site. And at any point, you can always come to this drop down that appears and you can unpublish your site, and then people will lose access to seeing that site. But that is the overview of Google Sites. Again, maybe a little bit longer video, but hopefully that gives you all the different things you're going to need to do with your Google site, all the way from customization to getting things into your site. To finish this video up, I had one really important thing I wanted to explain to you, and it wasn't really something I needed to show on screen. But please note, anything you put into a Google site that's from your Google Drive. So let's say you need to put a slide deck on your site, or you need to put a Google Doc on your site, or even a PDF that's in your Google Drive. You need to go into your Google Drive and make sure the share settings are correct. If that document is private to you, so you're the only one that has access to it, even after you publish your Google site, if someone navigates, let's say your teacher goes to the site, all they'll see instead of your slide deck, they'll see a little window that says you don't have permission to view this. So what you'd want to do is you'd want to make sure your teacher has access to that document or that slide deck, make sure they have shared rights to it, then you put it on your Google site so they can actually see it. So I hope that makes sense, but just make sure if someone ever reaches out, or if a teacher reaches out to you and says, hey, I can't see your artifacts on your page, they're probably just not shared with them. So that was the last little bit I wanted to tell you about. I hope your sites turn out great, and I will see you later.